I'm going to try and do this as quick as possible. I don't know if I'll do the color on live. You guys probably can't hear me that good because I do not plan on talking. I just plan on listening to what I'm listening to on YouTube. Shout outs to Mims. Um, this YouTube video, Mims is Make It Make Sense. That's the YouTube channel I'll be listening to during this live. Once again, not doing much talking. If I see people come in, then I'll engage. But mostly focused on getting these nails done. I did apply the acrylic. It's not shaved down or anything shaped up yet. So I'll do that after I apply the acrylic to this. I did save a hand like I said I would. But right now I'm watching Make It Make Sense. I'm listening to it as I'm doing my nails. So this is just what a realistic version of what it looks like for me to do my nails. Listen to something that I could just listen to on YouTube. Sometimes it's, music. Sometimes it's the words. Sometimes it's trash. Okay, so there's a Diddy update. So I'm curious to hear about that. I haven't done Diddy updates in a while because there hasn't really been anything. And personally, I haven't seen anything, But I'm interested to hear what's going on. But yeah, I'm about to finish playing this. Once again, it's on Make It Make Sense YouTube channel. And it's called Insane Odell Beckham, Drewski, Big Homie CC, and Diddy Story. Enough is enough, I guess. I reposted a couple of Big Homie CC's. It's crazy. A couple of his interviews on my channel. So now I've heard of this lawsuit, but now they're naming people in this lawsuit. So I didn't know the security guard was allegedly Big Homie CC. That's what's being alleged. And Drewski, a part of this allegation. But I am going to start listening to this and just get into my nails so you guys could just see how I go about applying the acrylic. Very messy, very sloppy, very unprofessional. But we end always with a professional result. I'm using Savaland. I don't know. Savaland. This is the brand that I use for my acrylic, for, what you call this? Monomer? I don't know. Hey, y'all. Hey. Hi, Brandy. Hi, Kevs. Kevs RC. Hi, Cyro. What's with the face? So once again, I'm not going to be doing much. Thank you for the likes, guys. I'm not going to be doing much talking. I'm going to try and shut up. I want to be able to, hey, Leanna. I want to be able to focus. Oh, you was out of here. I prefer the Holy Spirit, and I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Matter of fact, can I report you? Let me see if I can report you, because that was a little bit. Report. Sexual. Okay, report. Okay. Bye. People get blocked for life on this channel. If you guys haven't caught my live from earlier today, yes, I went live earlier today. So this is part 2 to the earlier live. Earlier live, I was doing a lot more talking that I will be doing in this video. In this video, I'm just going to be listening. My kids out there, ain't no bedtime on a Saturday night. No bedtime. Hola, hello. Okay, hey Lily, hey Helton Castro, hey Bert Costa, Sebastian Sticks, hello from Kansas. Hey Lily, you are so pretty. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate you guys stopping in. I hope I don't bore you, because it might be a little boring. This is mainly just to focus on getting my nails done, and it kind of holds me accountable. Yes. Look at Girl Dad cooking up deliciousness. What's up? Hey. Hit that like button if you haven't, period. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Girl Dad, cooking up deliciousness. Happy Saturday. I hope everyone is having a great evening. Um, I'm going to take the camera off from me for a little bit. I'll chime in. Once again, this is me just doing my nails. I got a long way to go. I still have to finish the acrylic on this hand, and I have to file and shape, and then we can get into color and all that other extra stuff. Yeah, probably should. I think I have what I need here. I have everything I need here. All right, so oh, Lily, that was so sweet. You're the most prettiest person I've ever seen. That's so sweet. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. All right, so I'm gonna play this. If this is not your thing, I'm sorry, but we got more Diddy updates. So I'm just ear hustling while I handle these nails. Okay, I gotta go live because this is how I get it done. Okay, so thank you for joining me, and let's tune into Mims Make It Make Sense. That's his YouTube channel, and it starts with Insane. He just came out with this video. He just did this live earlier, like 7 hours ago. So I'm catching up.
As they walk to their vehicle. Defendant Pelletier.
I don't know if you guys can hear that or not, but that's what I'm listening to. Thanks for the likes. Okay.
Let's move on.
I don't want to drop anything. Okay.
No, this is all new. This whole part that we're about to get into is all new. Plaintiffs John and Jane Doe. Plaintiffs John and Jane Doe are mother and son. Plaintiffs were taken from Las Vegas residence by Defendant Pelletier as they walked to their vehicle. Defendant Pelletier put a gun to Plaintiff John Doe's back and instructed him to get into a black SUV regarding extraditing plaintiffs for warrants to California. Plaintiffs did not have any warrants nor convictions. Plaintiffs demanded to be shown the warrants, and Defendant Pelletier refused and threatened to shoot plaintiffs if they protested further. In the back of the black SUV was Defendant Valdez. Defendant was unknown to plaintiffs at the time. Defendant was dressed in dark clothes and instructed plaintiffs not to look at him. Plaintiffs were then transported to what they believed was Defendant Pelletier's residence at such and such Bay, Las Vegas. Plaintiffs were ordered inside and brought into the living room and forced to sit on the couch and were physically restrained. Now, here's where things get murky, because we're hearing that Pelletier has ties to the mob. Who knows what's going on? But it's... okay.
It's provocative.
Plaintiffs demanded to speak to their attorney, which was refused, ignored, or met with threats of violence. It became obvious to plaintiffs that this was not a legal arrest and that Pelletier was acting outside of the color of the law. At some point thereafter, plaintiffs were ordered back of a large black SUV. Defendant Gonzalez was given the keys to plaintiff's vehicle, a SUV to follow behind the SUV. Defendant Gonzalez and Pelletier had a list, which upon information and belief was a list of safe houses, which they could allow parties a safe respite undetected. Defendant Pelletier appeared to be in charge, and he and Defendant Valdez were both giving out orders to other co-conspirator defendants. Plaintiffs overhear repeated conversations in the vehicle while being kidnapped and transported about following protocol made by Defendant Pelletier to others. Upon information and belief, the protocol was agreed upon codes, including use of communication apps like WhatsApp and or Snapchat, satellite phones, and referring to other co-conspirator defendants by their middle names. It was apparent to plaintiffs this was a professional operation, a syndicate, which ties into RICO. Plaintiffs were then trafficked from Las Vegas to various locations throughout California. The first location plaintiffs were able to identify was Danville, California. In the convoy with the SUV plaintiffs were placed in also included plaintiff's SUV that was driven by Defendant Gonzalez. Upon information and belief, Defendant KK was in another SUV as part of the convoy. So now we're tying Pelletier, the man who was pretending to be a police officer, to KK, Diddy's right hand, and we're not even to the crazy part of this story. I'm sorry, I didn't even see you guys that sent the super chat. Lily Sweet says, Mims, never stop being a critical thinker. We need that more than ever. Thank you, I appreciate that. Shrinking Sharon, thank you as always for being a member, but Shrinking Sharon has literally been here since the start of my channel. So shout out to her. Alan, My buddy in real life, thank you so much for the super chat. Strawberry Chael, thank you for becoming a member. And Basic Black. Mims, please correct me if I'm wrong. Might have missed a detail or two since I'm multitasking at the moment. But as a federal law, doesn't FOIA only apply to those federal issues and not for state or local agencies? Let's see. When are FOIA requests? Requests can be submitted to federal agencies to access their records, but agencies are not required to disclose information that falls under one of the non-FOIA exemptions, such as national security or personal privacy. FOIA applies to records held by federal agencies. So you're right, this would have been a state and a local. But let me see. If you're the victim of a crime,
that doesn't look too bad.
request In California, a victim of a crime can request a copy of the police report related to the incident, and they are entitled to receive it. So you wouldn't have to. Well, I think when she said FOIA request, I think she had requested it as an attorney, which is why I think she said FOIA. But technically, the victim can request it on their own, and they're supposed to be.
I don't like when this brush.
They're supposed to be able to receive a copy.
So annoying.
My attorneys put in FOIA requests for me. Who was it for? I think it was for Krishan. I think it was for Krishan and that dude who she assaulted who was singing. I think.
Talk about James.
It's been a lot. Thank you for the super chat. Basic Black. Okay. At some point, defendant Gonzalez complained he had trouble keeping up with the convoy of black SUVs because the SUV ran poorly. Plaintiffs alleged the convoy drive was for numerous hours, but the exact time was uncertain as they were unable to keep adequate track of time. The next location, plaintiffs were taken among the safe houses of their route to an unknown destination. Plaintiffs heard some altercation with the owners of the home not wanting to be involved with defendant's scheme. Plaintiff attempted to speak to the owners for help and could not understand why they wouldn't heed plaintiff's cries for help. Plaintiffs heard the owners speak a foreign language they believed was Farsi. Upon information and belief, this location was approximately 20 miles from the home in Orinda where plaintiff Harm was assaulted.
Why is she so loud?
During the transportation of plaintiffs across state lines, they were given water to drink, which plaintiffs believed was drugged. Defendant Valdez would provide plaintiffs the water, which
Bella, too loud!
would feel slightly euphoric, dizzy, and then sick. Defendant Valdez would demand plaintiffs drink the water, but they refused and are fake consumption. During the transportation, plaintiffs were forced to listen to a device with music similar to a device associated with defendant KK's nonprofit organization, Music Beats Heart, in order to prevent plaintiffs from eavesdropping on the defendant's conversation. At certain times, the music stopped playing and Plaintiff Doe was able to get the earbuds partially out of one ear, with defendants noticing to hear conversations about the plans they had for plaintiffs.
Okay, it's not bad.
Now they're in El Cerrito. Plaintiffs were able to keep track of their location by remembering cross streets when they were finally let out of the vehicle for stops. At this location, plaintiffs observed a recreational vehicle arrive at the residence. During this stop is when plaintiff noticed defendant KK was part of the convoy. At this stop, plaintiffs overheard defendant KK being referred to as her code name, believed to be her middle name, Natasha, discussing visiting the UC Berkeley campus as the defendant seemed very familiar with the area and familiar with the city. Upon information and belief, the location was approximately 7 miles from the home in Orinda where plaintiffs were assaulted. Are y'all seeing what they're doing here? They're establishing a series of safe houses that are connected, which would mean that they would not be doing all of these assaults at a mansion. Instead, it would be like this place, or you bring this sex trafficked person here for a couple hours, you drug them. The way sex trafficking works, especially for young girls, is they snatch you, they drug you, they move you really, really quickly. They'll have people assault you, they drug you some more. They have it so that you're in a constant state of disarray. You don't really know what's going on. I don't even know what dates this is. They did not give us a date that any of this stuff necessarily took place. Are they saying that it was also in 2018 where the initial complaint, when the initial complaint happened? I don't know. And it wasn't clear to me. If anybody else saw where they said a date, let me know, because I didn't see it. Plaintiffs were taken to another location at the Beacon Grand Hotel, Sir Francis Drake, which is where Shane, the white guy who initially set up the girl to get assaulted by Diddy, worked. So now they're alleging that he and this hotel is a part of this organization. Defendant Shane worked at the hotel as manager. Plaintiffs were taken into the hotel through what appeared to be the side entrance by defendants Valdez, Pelletier, and Gonzalez. Defendant Pelletier told the co-conspirator defendants he would stay at a different hotel nearby so it wouldn't be linked to him. Once inside the hotel room, plaintiffs were beaten and drugged by defendants Valdez and Gonzalez. Plaintiffs pleaded with Valdez and Gonzalez to be released and for mercy. Defendants Valdez and Gonzalez instructed plaintiff to sign paperwork at gunpoint. When plaintiff refused, defendant Gonzalez would pistol whip plaintiffs on the back of their heads.
In search of the perfect fit, we put Power Beats Pro 2 in 1,500 hours of rigorous testing. The result is
critical minerals go into all the products
What the
that
freak
we
is-
depend on. We
Defendant Gonzalez eventually gave plaintiff a drink, which caused them to pass out.
Phone charging.
Plaintiff spent the... Now remember, these are a mom and a son, but we don't know ages. Plaintiffs spent the night at the hotel with defendants Gonzalez and Valdez, taking turns watching them. The next morning, plaintiffs were restrained and bound by their hands in front and were placed into a vehicle. Plaintiffs then saw defendants Jaguar and Helena. So, you're at... Let me see what this hotel looks like. Sir Francis Drake.
Let's see.
If anybody's ever stayed there, let me know if it's a nice hotel. It looks pretty nice. This is the hotel. It looks like maybe like a historic hotel. But it definitely looks nice to me. I don't know. No, we don't want to become one of your travelers. And now enter in some mess. Defendant Pelletier told co-conspirators defendants he would stay at a different hotel nearby so it wouldn't be linked to him. Once inside the hotel room, I'm sorry, we got that. We went there already. Defendant Helena was the driver and defendant Jaguar was the passenger. Defendant Helena warned plaintiffs if they tried to escape or run, they would have to shoot you. Defendant Helena also warned plaintiffs not to throw up in her vehicle, saying, "You better not throw up in my car or get sick." Somebody says that they hate when I correct lawsuits, but it literally says, line 206, defendant Helena also warned plaintiffs not to throw up in her vehicle, saying, "You better not throw up in my car or get sick." But I'm not supposed to say that. That makes somebody really mad. They type in all caps. Defendant Helena mentioned having two partners as backup who were bounty hunters.
Almost
Plaintiffs
done.
were familiar with defendant Helena as she had filed a lawsuit against superstar singer Michael Jackson in 2005 and filed a creditor's claim against the Jackson State upon his timely demise in 2009. Both of those things you can look up. So you have basically just unearthed this person in the lawsuit. And additionally, now we've entered in Jacqueline and somebody else. Now, when we're talking about Jacqueline,
I don't know how I'm gonna do this.
do I believe that she was a part of this particular crime syndicate? No. I don't.
This is gonna be so annoying, Signal.
But do I see why she might be thrown into this? Absolutely. And it's because of statements like this. Remember what I told you about people who come online and discuss things and only maybe potentially allude to saying something? Like you see something, you say something? I think this is where this applies. The show from respect, y'all.
Jaguar.
Family.
So I got a real question though. I was watching some things earlier, and shout out to Real Life Street Stars.
Salute.
I was watching some things, and you had said that you didn't start talking it because until you wouldn't incriminate yourself.
Absolutely.
You talk about a lot of people in the industry, but what's some things that you can be real about yourself? Like, what are some of the things that you have actually done?
I was a pimp.
Who was you pimping?
Girls. Sometimes boys. They worked for
So
me.
that's why you was able to be in these
She
rooms
always
and
talked
see the
about
things
that,
you
though.
seen.
I was in those rooms even when I wasn't physically in those rooms because I had hidden cameras on all of my workers. I keep
That's
hidden
why the
cameras
hidden cameras,
on
that's
all
way back
of
in the
my
day.
workers. Yeah, who do you think I am?
You Jaguar right, baby. That's why I'm up here talking to you. I believe in a lot of stuff that you say. Sometimes I feel like
have
you
been
say
wearing
stuff,
body cams since 2005.
Over talking.
I had no choice. After I
So when you
found out
gonna
the
drop
truth
the
about what
footage?
happened to Aaliyah, well, see, who said that I'm going to use that footage for content? Maybe it's only evidence. Maybe some of those
Every
tapes
time
have already
Jaguar
made it to the
talk, it's
videotape.
hilarious. That girl's funny.
Maybe that gave the Homeland Security enough.
Ooh,
You know,
not
anonymous
Homeland.
informants are very, very, very useful.
That's real.
I'm messing this up.
Now,
Talking
can
about
I
the
Now,
ask
I'm
you
not going to
something?
say I'm a fed. And I'm not going to say I'm a snitch. What I will say is, I talk to people in law enforcement. And a lot of times they listen. But they definitely listen when I let them talk to my witnesses.
When I let them
Now,
talk.
can I ask you another thing? You had said at one point you said that somebody was paid to do some things to you, but
Okay. So here's the thing. On her, Jacqueline. It's a one-sided beef. I don't care, to be honest with you.
I don't even know what this tea is about for real.
You weren't anybody that I covered. You came and you sought my channel out. You wanted me to allow you to come on my channel and disparage other content creators. And when I told you no, you lost it.
I was there for that.
It's a rule on my channel that nobody can come on my channel and disparage other content creators. Just like she went on my channel, she went on Sean Atwood's channel and disparaged me. You're not integral to the story, which is why I never really covered you. You can make all of your interviews.
Yeah.
You can come and you can play nice and play like you have sense sometimes, or whatever you choose to do. I don't really. It's inconsequential to the actual story. I don't care how many times you come up on there and say, you know what I find interesting. It doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't. So if by some strange twist, Jaguar Wright is actually
Right?
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I do not believe that Jaguar was actively
and
assaulting people and in this
kind of butchy.
massive conspiracy theory where she said she was pimping people. She did not say she was actively sex trafficking people. So this is why I said we need to have a real conversation, because this is where we're at. We have people who get online and who say all kinds of crazy shit.
That's a fashion show sounding like that. Like, what the freak?
The fastest growing scam of 2025 is sweeping across the country, draining bank accounts in mere seconds, often before people even know what's happening. Scammers are using RFID scanners to grab debit and credit card details without ever laying eyes on your cards. They don't need to touch you, they just walk past. If your cards are in your wallet or bag, they can be scanned without you noticing a thing.
And dabble in conspiracy theories. And some of it might sound true enough, but at a certain point, when people don't necessarily bring any type of concrete evidence, you really need to question the source. So in one space, you are pimping out, by your own admission, men and women. In another space, you're saying you had a boat and you were rescuing people from Epstein Island, and there's no proof of that. So this is exactly why I do not cover her. If there's a beef, it's a one-sided beef, because I don't care anymore. Like, you were never really on my radar like that. And that whole stuff about, you want to stay under the radar. Well, I'm onto you. All that kind of stuff. The threats, the over-talking people, the jumping from channel to disparage other people is not what I'm on. So now that she's in this lawsuit, I honestly do not believe that Jaguar Wright committed this crime, and this is me being open and honest. I think that she put herself in the mix so much that now she's become a target, and this is retaliation, and they knew that if they put her name in this particular lawsuit, it might make some form of a wave. And that's why I think this particular part of the lawsuit is bullshit. If you are a follower of her, I don't fault you for being a follower of her. She's a really good, like, storyteller. I just don't believe the shit that comes out of her mouth. And that's just it. There's no beef, there's no anything, there's no nothing. Like, inconsequential to my life, in all honesty.
Inconsequential.
But let's move on. I think there was, like, more. Let me see if there's another one.
I get very messy when I use my left hand to do this.
There we go.
I just want all this stuff off. It feels
The
funny.
sex worker, I was a dominatrix before I got my record deal. That's how I know how the dark world and the sex world and the entertainment world run hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the movie Blink Twice is so important. Salute to Zoe Kravitz. The sex workers that I have worked with throughout the years and continue to work with even to this day have worn hidden cameras. I have my own tapes. I've seen what they do. The ritualistic behavior.
Okay, I think y'all get the point. I think y'all get the point. Yeah, somebody said I believe her son. Look, I cannot, and this is me being serious, like, whatever Jag might have against me, again, I don't really care. But after you make a statement that somebody sexually violated you, and then you change that statement to it was AI, I can't in good conscience take things that you say at face value, and that's just it. Nor do I believe that her son's interview was AI. You know, like where he called her like a demonic prostitute and all that stuff. I don't believe that's AI. If you choose to believe that, great. You know, whatever. I don't fault people for being a follower of her, because some people watch Zeus. Like I said, some people watch PBS. Whatever the case, people consume everybody. And unlike her, I don't try to actively destroy other content creators, and nor do I care or pocket watch them. That's for a certain type of person. That's for a person like her. I'm not. And that's just it. But yeah, that's why I think that this particular lawyer did her client a disservice. The big homie CC thing was kind of like, wow. Then you add Odell. Then you add Drewski. Now you're adding Jacqueline. They're going to need, a lot of times we're reviewing these and, you know, you talk about somebody who might have had a bad experience or was, you know, violently taken advantage of, and there might be a little foggy, and maybe they didn't go get an R-word kit, and that's the extent of it. If, and I'm saying if, because there's always a chance, if this attorney can show anything that's concrete proof of any of these allegations, I would be surprised. But if they do, then maybe they have a shot. Remember, guys, not all lawsuits are actually going to make it to trial, but this feels like chaos to me. I don't know how y'all feel about it, but it feels like chaos to me. We then went over the hill, crossed the bridge, through a river, and I'm hearing a lot of conspiracy type things, but I'm not seeing a lot of, these are the factual points. These are the exhibits that show that this man was here at this time, and this is his connection to that police force, or whoever that Michael Jackson cover-up guy was. We saw him, and he has a connection to this particular police force. We've heard a lot and we've seen a lot in this particular amended complaint that I feel is more retaliatory, because, you know, what Big Homie CC and Jaguar do is they do a lot of interviews. I don't technically know how Big Homie CC feels about Ariel Mitchell Kidd, but I remember around the time of the Pierce Morgan interview where it felt like Ariel was trying to get her clutches in Jag, and Jag was reticent to do that. And then when Ariel linked up with Courtney, there was also something there, but this is not feeling right. This no longer feels like it's about the victim. This feels like this is to make a splash for publicity. But yeah, okay. Let's keep going. Plaintiffs were familiar with defendant Helena as she had filed a suit against mega superstar Michael Jackson. So now we have another conspiracy. So this is somebody who was wronged by Michael Jackson, and now they're being kidnapped. But we don't know when. We don't know technically even close to a date. Let's go back. So this is page 35. Let's go back to... Yeah, it just starts plaintiff John and Doe. So we are to assume that their kidnapping was also around the time of the assault for the initial plaintiff. So we're just going to date this around 2018. Does anybody know what Jaguar Wright or Big Homie CC was doing around 2018? That would be the question. I think we're on page 38. Was it 30 or 35? Okay, here we go. Plaintiffs were familiar with defendant Helena from her previous Michael Jackson lawsuits and previously met with defendant at her home in West Hollywood to determine the credibility of her claims and if they were similar in nature to plaintiffs. Plaintiffs have reported defendant Helena multiple times to the LA and OC FBI field officers for her role in the crime syndicate with defendants Pelletier, Valdez, and other individuals. Plaintiffs attempted to make conversation with defendant Helena in which she admitted she was the same person who plaintiffs had met with previously. Defendant Jaguar, aggravated, stated, "You let them know who you are. That's really great." Plaintiffs noticed defendants had large brown bags and manila envelopes full of cash that was banded. It appeared they were separating the large sums of cash to distribute as they were placing cash into the manila envelopes. Defendant Jaguar discussed with defendant Helena how the party started the first black-owned network. Upon information and belief, plaintiffs believe that network to be revolved. Defendant Jaguar and defendant Helena discussed the other co-conspirators referred to them by their middle names Natasha, Pedro, Vera, Cornelius, and Larry, shortened for Lauren. When defendant Jaguar said Cornelius, it upset defendant Helena, who said the defendants Odell and Drewski were her clients. And nothing better happened to them. And plaintiffs better not say anything about them, or she would have
This
plaintiffs
stuff flying in my
unalive.
eye. Because it will.
Defendant Jaguar then told plaintiffs they were being taken to meet John. Plaintiffs now know that was referring to defendant Judy. When defendants arrived with plaintiffs at the Loma Vista location, it appeared as if they were waiting and coordinating for others to arrive. A large sedan arrived, and plaintiffs were placed in the back with defendant Valdez. Defendant Pelletier was driving. Defendant then arrived at a short driveway. Defendant remembers looking for an intersecting street sign at this location and found blank, a dead-end street of Loma Vista Drive. Plaintiff John Doe repeated the name of the street to himself so he remembered and was able to whisper into Jane Doe's ear to remember the intersecting street name. Plaintiffs believed this was the home they would be unalived in and tried to devise a plan. Plaintiffs were brought into the house and into the kitchen where they were watched by defendant Gonzalez. Plaintiffs repeated their pleas to defendant Gonzalez to be released and for mercy, which he replied, "There's nothing he can do." Plaintiffs could hear other people inside the home and tried to listen to understand what was happening, which included a woman's scream. Eventually, plaintiffs were led deeper into the home where they encountered more individuals, including defendant Biggie. Plaintiffs observed several individuals gathered around a bed while defendant Gonzalez and Valdez stood outer guard. Plaintiffs observed defendant Jaguar and Helena enter the residence. Defendant Jaguar told plaintiffs, "He wants something you have. If I were you, I'd figure out what it really is fast." Then defendant was referring to is believed to be Diddy. Shortly after, defendant Drewski appeared wearing a vest and shorts, and he engaged in conversation with plaintiffs. Plaintiffs tried to appeal to
They said
defendant by
Drewski
talking
appeared
about
to
the
wearing
music
a dress
industry,
and shorts.
defendant
A
instructed
vest and
plaintiffs
shorts,
they
I'm
should
sorry.
cooperate.
This is funny
Plaintiffs
because he
described
does
what they
wear this.
observed in the assault of plaintiff Farm at this interaction with defendant Drewski. Plaintiffs observed defendant Farm having an IUD forcibly placed in her vag by defendant KK with the assistance of defendant's brain. Defendant heard defendant KK make a remark about how plaintiff Jane Doe would not need an IUD because of her age. While hearing plaintiff Farm scream in agony during the forced IUD insertion, plaintiff Jane Doe yelled, "Stop hurting her." Okay. Now I'm piecing this. So this is the same time. Does anybody know where Homie CC and Jaguar were in 2018?
At Penn Foster, I can earn my high school diploma online, on my time, and on my budget. I can start school when I'm ready.
The Lucy is a drawing tool that allows you to see what you're drawing and the surface you're drawing on at the same time. The Lucy turns beginners into
Ariel tried to use AD joint interference with Puffy, but she wasn't a good actress. Defendant Diddy instructed Valdez to shut her up, and defendant Valdez hit plaintiff Doe with the hand of the firearm. Plaintiff Doe witnessed plaintiff Farm being assaulted by the remote. So now, we probably should have started with the first Does, because those were the lead up to them all being in the same house. That's the connection. I literally have gone over this lawsuit, but I've been so frustrated.
Oh, wow.
Each time I went over it. I literally was extremely frustrated each time I went over this lawsuit. So now I'm piecing it together. That's the thing. We didn't get a date because this is actually in 2018. They just had some time before the assault of the first victim. And now they are acting as witnesses for the victim. I want to see what y'all are saying. Are y'all believing all of this? This was supposed to be in 2018. I'm not reaching out to any of these people in there. I'm gonna talk to y'all. I'm gonna talk to the actual victims who still feel comfortable enough to come to me and be honest with me, and even the ones that aren't necessarily supposed to talk to me because technically I am a blogger. I'm gonna keep reaching out to them. I'm not interested. I've never been interested in the aspect of YouTube where we take somebody like Elamisha, turn her to a victim, and then muddy the waters of actual victims. When I say muddy the waters, this is exactly who I mean. Well, I'm gonna keep reaching out to them. I'm not gonna throw salt on Big Homie CC's game. Whatever he does and whatever platforms he's on, that's whatever platforms he's on. It doesn't really involve me. I don't cover him. I definitely do not cover the other one. The only thing I ask, even going back to that one, is I allowed you on my channel. I was actually, very fair with you. What happens is, because I still have some integrity in my channel, people want to utilize that to make their channel or whatever their cause more attractive to maybe a different audience of people. I'm acutely aware of that, which is why I do not allow other content creators to come on my platform and disparage other content creators. I didn't even know who Jaguar came on specifically saying something about I needed to be informed about Danny, a content creator. I had only ever heard of Danny for two things. One was when they were doing a search for the avatar. That's how long I've been watching YouTube. They were doing a search for the avatar, which was all about the tea. And I think Danny had a channel where she was anti the search or something to that effect, or didn't feel like something was being fair with the search. I don't know. I hadn't seen the channel. I just heard people talk about the channel. And then she reached out to Lamisha's mom. That was the only time I had heard about the channel, until Jag came on my channel. And then I'm a very analytical person by nature. When you come on my channel talking about something, I'm going to go look. And when I went to go look at the channel, I saw why Jaguar hates this woman. Because what she does is in real time fact check all the things that Jaguar says. How you have connected me to all these people, I don't know. But now I understand that why Jaguar hates that woman, because you're fact checked, which is really strange, y'all. Let's get into this. Jaguar says that she has a list where she is actively going after people who she feels are, I don't know, trolls or whatever she's calling them these days, right? Because certain people make too much money, she don't like that. But you're mad at another content creator who is doing to you what you are allegedly doing to other people when you make your list of the content creators who are supposed to be troll farms. You're mad at somebody else for doing exactly what you do to them, or you do to other people. I don't know. Like, that's why I can't get into I can't get into all of that. Honestly, I cannot get into all of that because that doesn't propel or push the voices out there of those people who have been harmed. So I cannot do, like, I can't go back and forth on the internet when I have actual topics that I want to discuss. There are a lot of people who don't like me, and it's okay if you don't like me. I'm not gonna be for everybody, just like they're not for everybody. Whatever the case may be. But what I can tell you is I have my own community of people here who follow me, who support me, and I appreciate it. That's it. I'm never gonna sit here and just disparage or ball bust another content creator because however you do your thing is however you do your thing.
I'm sleepy.
I'm feeling
relax.
like I don't really need to going any deeper to this particular lawsuit. I'm never gonna say never with the lawsuit. Maybe by some strange occurrence, all of this is true. But by the time you add it to people who are online giving interviews directly into a lawsuit just for me, I feel like the attorney who did this and who drafted this did a disservice to their client. Now we are operating only in a space of chaos, and I don't know what to do with that. So, anyway, we're gonna go ahead and let this go. I will casually follow this lawsuit. I'm not gonna lie to you guys and say that I'm gonna be on this particular one because I have too many questions, and I haven't really seen, when I looked through the case, very many exhibits. So it's a lot of alleged first-hand accounts, but I'm not seeing, so much evidentiary support of the first-hand accounts, and that makes me weary to follow this one, because if Ariel Mitchell Kidd is an agent of chaos, isn't that what she would want? Right? I mean, I don't know. I don't know that I'm gonna be able to follow this one. I don't know. Ariel Mitchell Kidd, as far as I know, is a practicing attorney. I haven't seen anywhere where she's been, sanctioned. I know she has sued Diddy before, Trey Songz. I want to say Chris Brown too. The Chris Brown one, she left the client because the client was still actively texting Chris Brown to hook up. It's just been so much. And anybody who really affiliates with Courtney, the man who allegedly put out the Kim Porter book, I feel like it's an agent of chaos, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. Shout out to all the other content creators. Y'all do what you do, and maybe, just maybe, no, I'm not gonna lie. I don't see, if there's no evidence yet, I don't see any evidence for me. Good luck to this alleged victim. If she was truly a victim, I hope that she gets another attorney who can adequately. I think she's being bullshitted. I don't know how else to say it. I feel like this is retaliatory. I feel similar to the Busby case in this situation, where you're just throwing out every name that's going to get a click, a view, and you're not really focusing on what could actually help your client get this case to trial. Because anyway, okay, I'll see y'all later.
Get up to 20%.
What can I find next? Let's see. The devil is a narcissist.
What's up, everybody?
Ego. Listen to what Kitty
Hey,
has
baby.
to say.
I want to come and talk to y'all for a little bit before I have to go ahead and start my evening. I wanted to talk to y'all about how we end up affirming Satan's work. When we are caught in a season, when we're going through that refining process, when we feel like we are suffering, when we are sitting trying our hardest to trust God, sometimes our...
Nope. Not my story. Not my
Hey,
season.
babies, I want to come.
Nope. And since when they started doing that? Unless it's a beer. Maybe he doesn't have anything. No, I'm on live. So I want to listen to that one. Maybe it's another one. Okay, I guess that's the one. I'll listen to the air. Evner Entertainment. I hope he doesn't copyright me for this. You know what? I'm gonna move on to somebody else. What is there? Oh yeah, I did hear this.
And you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people were salivating, like, what can...
Okay.
And you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people were salivating, like, what can we find out?
You guys
about
wouldn't
these
know
people,
what this
right?
is.
But after the scene where where he said he wanted to pay Trisha to pay half of the divorce, he interviews with Carlos King and Heavenly. He presents as a man who has a good upbringing. This is what he's telling them. I was raised right by my grandmother. I would never do X, Y, and Z. My grandmother would, that's just not who I am, how I was raised. He said, I'll never speak ill of my baby mama. Like, that's still the mother of my children. You will never hear me say a bad word about her. What else did he say? He also said, listen, filming was bullshit. My son, he's the one who called me and said, Dad, they're trying to force me to say things about you. That's not true. How should I handle this? And he said for the first time that was, he was able to get in his car because he had, he felt a way about Ken, but he got in his car after that moment and he drove straight to Huntsville to see what was going on. And that's when they offered him a contract. He filmed those 2 scenes. He continued to film during the second part of the season 9. He interviewed a couple of times, but there's this picture that's released. I think that interview with Heavenly and Carlos King happened either late June, mid-July. In August, people are, the fan base is forming around who they like, who they don't like. Trisha was not liked. The idea that she had a husband that she had divorced, possibly had a relationship with Martell, a year, 2 years before, and had moved on with Ken without closing the door in the other relationship. It had people in their fifis, and she was pushing an entire avalanche uphill, right? She's pushing the avalanche uphill. Marquez he's taking it all in, but there is a picture that gets released by Ken of him hugging Trisha and Marquez's daughter. And perhaps there was a fake storyline kind of wrapped around some of this. So maybe they were, hear me out, okay? Maybe they were pushing out information to social media to get people engaged in their story. And it went wrong. Because after that picture came out, content creators who did not like Ken, they ended up, content creators or a fan page, the story started getting pushed out there that Ken was chestering. Y'all know the rhyme Chester, that starts with an M? That rumor went rampant on social media. It was a part of all of the fan pages for LAMH. It was on some of the YouTube channels. Again, that was in August of 2024. Nobody responded or answered to it. I guess they were trying to just maybe hope that it would die and go away. But moving forward, fast forward to October. October is when the reunion is filmed. So they're still in the full throes of season 9. Like the shows are coming on, okay, episode every Saturday, but now they're filming in October the reunion. And there's a lot of bad energy and emotions out there, okay? Lots. People have, information that this is all fake, and even that Chester, the even that made it to the reunion stage. And I know this, okay, because, baby, Marquez addressed it in a post, okay? Do y'all remember this post? Y'all can see Ken actually pinned his location. He said Kenneth Lee in Burbank, California. That's where the reunion was. And then in the center, he said a deadbeat baby daddy's worst nightmare. He goes on to say that he's that dude, big simping with an S. Now, I did call him a simp a few times on my channel. He goes on to say, call it what you want. I'm him, father figure, ain't no 50-50, big dude, blended family. So he posted all of that, and then Marquez grabbed the post, put it on his social media page with this, okay? Marquez actually pinned the post, Huntsville, Alabama, and he said, and this is coming from a ninja who can't have kids. Money doesn't make you a father, and it can't buy you DNA. We are not the same. You're not the father. Goes on to say, fear not, I am with you. He's quoting a Bible verse from Isaiah. And then he said, I don't have nightmares, never scared. God got me. 100 emoji. Okay, so this all went down following that reunion. Most of y'all have heard, all of the content creators probably have reported out, I know I did, that there was a big blowout that happened on the reunion stage. And we didn't know, how bad it was, but it sounded bad. It sounded like they were like this close to going after each other on that stage. Y'all saw, if you did watch the reunion, you saw there is a part where Marceau tapped Tisha and said, we switched seats, because Tisha was actually sitting closest to Ken. There was also a scene where you see Carlos standing in front of Marquez, and he's like, calm down, sit down. This platform is for you to, listen. Maybe some things will come to you in hindsight, how to solve problems, allow you to, have some introspective moments kind of thing. He said, but outside of that, I don't want you fighting. But Marquez was sitting in his seat. He was looking menacing, like, you know what I'm saying? He wanted it. There's a scene where Ken looks at his hands, like, should I transform into Megatron now or no? But from what I'm understanding, it was a crazy, crazy scene. Okay? So, y'all know that, right? There was a lot of things said about the kids. There was a lot of, and I told y'all the look, I didn't even show y'all the actual post. Hold on, let me go back up here. You see next to Ken's head, Marquez posted Ken Diddy, hashtag Ken Diddy. So Marquez leans in to the rumor that had been floating around on social media since August of 2024. It's October 2024. And he said Ken Diddy, okay? But there's a lot of bad blood here. There's a lot of bad energy, negative energy with each other. They are going at it, right? Ken ends up going live on his IG platform. He's sitting in his car, and he's really pissed about the Ken Diddy comment, and he's like,
so this is
your data is valuable.
Diana Rosé.
It's worth more than gold. They're selling your passwords, your bank
she
details,
does
also the
content reviews on. She does content reviews on Love and Marriage Huntsville. So when they do really good reviews, you really don't have to watch the actual show. I haven't watched the actual show. I mean, I did watch the reunion and stuff, but I didn't watch it fully. But anyways, that's what I'm listening to now. So her name on YouTube is Diana Rosé. It's DYANA ROZAY.
Like, what can we find out about these people, right?
And this is called
after the scene,
Breaking All the Receipts for Marquez Trisha and Ken fallout. So, for the Love and Marriage Huntsville fans, this is like a recap of what's been happening this last week.
Where where he said he wanted to pay Trisha to pay half of the divorce. He interviews with Carlos King and Heavenly. He presents as a man who has a good upbringing. This is what he's telling them. I was raised right by my grandmother. I would never do X, Y, and Z. My grandmother would, that's just not who I am, how I was raised. He said, I'll never speak ill of my baby mama. Like, that's still the mother of my children. You will never hear me say a bad word about her. What else did he say? He also said, listen, filming was bullshit. My son, he's the one who called me and said, Dad, they're trying to force me to say things about you. That's not true. How should I handle this? And he said for the first time that was, he was able to get in his car because he had, he felt the way about Ken, but he got in his car that moment, and he drove straight to Huntsville to see what was going on, and that's when they offered him.
I for sure just listened to that. So where are we at now?
In October, the reunion. And there's a lot of bad energy and emotions out there, okay? Lots. People have, information that this is all fake. And even that Chester, the you-know-what, even that made it to the reunion stage. And I know this, okay? Because, baby, Marquez addressed it in a post. Okay? Do y'all remember this post? Y'all can see Ken actually pinned his location. He said Kenneth Lee in Burbank, California. That's where the reunion was. And then in the center, he said a deadbeat baby daddy's worst nightmare. He goes on to say that he's that dude, big simping with an S. Now, I did call him a simp a few times on my channel. He goes on to say, call it what you want. I'm him. Father figure. Ain't no 50-50. Big dude, blended family. So he posted all of that, and then Marquez grabbed the post, put it on his social media page with this, okay? Marquez actually pinned the post, Huntsville, Alabama, and he said, and this is coming from a ninja who can't have kids. Money doesn't make you a father, and it can't buy you DNA. We are not the same. You're not the father. Goes on to say, fear not, I am with you. He's quoting a Bible verse from Isaiah. And then he said, I don't have nightmares, never scared, God got me. 100 emoji. Okay, so this all went down following that reunion. Most of y'all have heard, all of the content creators probably have reported out, I know I did, that there was a big blowout that happened on the reunion stage. And we didn't know, how bad it was, but it sounded bad. It sounded like they were like this close to going after each other on that stage. Y'all saw, if you did watch the reunion, you saw there is a part where Marceau taps Tisha and said we switched seats because Tisha was actually sitting closest to Ken. There was also a scene where you see Carlos standing in front of Marquez and he's like, calm down, sit down. This platform is for you to, listen. Maybe some things will come to you in hindsight, how to solve problems, allow it, have some introspective moments kind of thing. He said, but outside of that, I don't want you fighting. But Marquez was sitting in his seat, he was looking menacing, like, you know what I'm saying? He wanted it. There's a scene where Ken looks at his hands, like, should I transform into Megatron now or no? But from what I'm understanding, it was a crazy scene, okay? So, y'all know that, right? There was a lot of things said about the kids. There was a lot of, and I told y'all the look, I didn't even show y'all the actual post. Hold on, let me go back up here. You see next to Ken's head, Marquez posted Ken Diddy, hashtag Ken Diddy. So Marquez leans in to the rumor that had been floating around on social media since August of 2024. It's October 2024. And he said Ken Diddy, okay? But there's a lot of bad blood here. There's a lot of bad energy, negative energy with each other. They are going at it, right? Ken ends up going live on his IG platform. He's sitting in his car and he's really pissed about the Ken Diddy comment. And he's like, you know, you don't even have to take it there. We could all do this together. He's talking about his childhood. I was raised that if I date a woman with children, this is, you know, I'm supposed to contribute to that kid's life. I'm supposed to make it better. I'm not just supposed to lay with their mama.
Absolutely.
That's the kids. So he's explaining it. He's serious. This is a blended family. I would love, this is Keenan again, I would love for you to help me. This is a big responsibility. I would love for you to participate with your children. They're your children. They're your children. This is the stuff he's saying, right? He's saying, I've done everything I could to reach out to you, to talk to you about the family and what we can do next. Now, this is important because I told y'all, Marquez was the one saying he disrespected me. He didn't talk to me. Trisha didn't talk to me. I got a problem with this kid. But Ken in this moment is saying, I've tried to reach out to you. It's you. You are the problem, okay? That's what he told Trisha on that episode. You are the problem. Well, he says that even then. And he said, I've helped him get jobs. He's a very smart dude. Like, he complimented him. He's a very smart dude. I've helped him get jobs because he'll get something and he'll be doing great, and then he quits. He'll go to something else. I've helped him with cards. I've bought the, son cards. So there's a lot that came out. And Ken may have gotten his ass handed to him for that one. Because people were like, we don't need to know what you do. He was going after him. And then that rumor floated up. That rumor floated up in the comments, and he lost it on the fans, right? Why would y'all do this? And y'all like beep, everything, okay? So that happens. After that happens, Trisha makes a post where she says, thank God for my son. And when I read it, I wish I had it, but when I read it, I knew that the son intervened in the Marquez and Ken fights. Okay? So Marquez ends up coming live the next day, and he admits that the son called him. He said, the only reason I'm here is because of my son. He asked me to make it right. I'm going to make it right. Okay? So after all of that goes down, we get this from Marquez.
You're like, so you better stop playing. Like, I ain't trying to be on here. You call, I got people praying for me. And they praying for you too. You can talk all this the whole Diddy situation, the kid Diddy, I said that because I almost feel like you trying to control my friend. Trisha ain't never wore no lace brush, bro. She ain't never wore no wigs, bro. She ain't never had to do all of that. She ain't never had to wear, look, bro, we talk about this money. This money ain't gonna buy you shit, bro. Hey, you know my grandma said you ain't never seen a Brinks truck follow a hearse.
Hold on.
And boy, the Diddy reference had nothing to do with sexual anything, because I know if you did anything to my kids or anything like that, I promise you it wouldn't even be no lies going on right now. So that wasn't the Ken Diddy reference. The Ken Diddy reference is, I feel like you coming in here and you taking advantage of my ex and my friend and my kids, bro. You trying to turn into something that's not healed.
Okay, so he clears it up, and since then he's also said that his kids are fine. There's no AD at all, right? Kids are not being harmed. They are fed. They are clothed. They are housed. They have water. They have allowances. They participate in after-school activities. All the things. And he said that would happen whether Ken was there or not. Okay, so he ended up getting that out there, but we can all rest easy that there's nothing else happening. He said that would never happen on his watch, period, and that even though Ken does contribute, because let's face it, he said a hearse doesn't follow a Brinks truck, but he does contribute if he put that out there. So we know that, right? But things still kept going back and forth between them, and mostly because of what was airing out on the show. The graduation scene, some other things. We heard about the pow-pow. So there was all kinds of verbal altercations, almost incidents that was going on between that reunion, the graduation, and some other things. And then we get the scene where Marquez is sitting at the table with Tristan Ken, and he's upset. He cries, right? He said he wanted to know if there was any chance that him and Trish can resolve things, and she said no, and she ends up leaving. And then we, after that moment was over, there was a lot of talk on social media, because look, we're watching a TV show, we're supposed to talk. But he ended up posting this. He said, when trying to take accountability and articulate the truth, let's be clear, this was the first time all three of us ever sat down and spoke about our issues in front of 12 people and 6 cameras, by the way. You can't take a real 2-hour conversation and condense it to 5 minutes and expect to understand or see the bigger picture. So again, this would have been filmed months ago before we saw it, but he said that was the first time ever the three of them had sat down and even broke the surface. It was a 2-hour conversation. We saw 7 minutes of it, right? He goes on to say, this is not a storyline. This is my real life.
So happy
that happens to be playing out on national TV. We were friends before this. Now we can no longer be friends. I am no longer going along with the storyline that you wanted, and I'm standing on business. And he said, I'll see you in court. Oh, and big dude, better count his days, because I got God with me and lawyers on deck. 100 emoji. Okay. He also said that my pain will be my greatest triumph. 100 emoji. He likes a 100 emoji, so I'm going to give it to him, okay? So yeah, he said all of that. That was that moment, right? So we passed the reunion where things got ugly. We are past some of these other scenes that's going down on the show, but I can tell you that the show instigated some of those feelings for all of them. This is their first season in reality TV, for real, and everybody says, even the ones that are seasoned, OGs, they'll tell you when that show plays out, even if you're over it, it'll bring you back to square one. So all of that went down, okay? Now, y'all, Ken decides to give Marquez what he wanted. Marquez makes a post. Y'all remember this? He posts the conversation, or not the conversation, but the phone log between him and Ken. And his name's up there, Kenneth Lee. It's an incoming call. So Ken called Marquez. It happened on, I think it was November 19th, right before Thanksgiving. November 19th at 11:34 a.m. Eastern time. Eastern time. And it was 4 hours and 39 minutes, almost 5 hours. This is what Marquez had to say about the call. Probably the toughest conversation I've ever had, but God has a plan, the power of prayer. P.S. This is not a storyline, this is real life, and the Holy Spirit has been working behind the scenes for the greater good. Okay? The man was so shocked that he got what he asked for, because he said he's been praying for this. He's been praying for Ken to call him and make it right. He literally just typed the word, wow. That's it. Sleek ass.
Pronounced sleek as. Discover your new Kia right now at Matt Black Kia of Abington. Come lease a 2025 Kia K4 for
Not
$151
interested in
per
the
month
Kia.
for 24.
And in my music, I like to talk just like men talk. Like we can do it all too.
Then he said, damn, this was tough from man to man to set your pride aside on both ends, for the bigger picture is only God's work. 100 emoji. It is not about us. 100 emoji. Okay? He was really, really touched. he was really touched that that had happened. And according to what he said in the Queen Sheba interview, he said that him and Ken really had a meeting of the minds where they shared some stuff with each other about Trisha, and both of them had come to the conclusion that they together was going to help Trisha move into therapy and get some grief counseling and whatever they believe that she has going on. But it was going to be they were going to work as a unit. They were going to work as a team, okay? But from what it sounds like, according to Marquez, what he also said was that he didn't have a relationship with Trisha per se. His relationship, anytime he needed, something or wanted to talk, it was either with his son who's 18 years old, or through Ken himself, right? I guess his daughter too, because I'm sure he talked to his daughter. But those were the only two. He didn't have a relationship where he could say, hey, Trish, I'm picking up the kids, or send her a text. That wasn't happening. Now, while all of this other stuff is going on, there's a few things that's happening that we have to also keep in mind. The show is airing. There are interviews happening with everybody. I think all three of them were on different channels talking about their experiences with each other. Trisha and Ken had fell out, broke up, child at one point. We got that season finale episode where the two of them have been fighting. That happened back in July too, on Carlos King and Heavenly.
This is why I don't do the color the same
day. They
day.
had already had that little moment. They get back together, but they aired it as a season finale, right? So there's still a lot of hot emotions, intense emotions, right? That's all going down. They're listening to what each other is saying about each other. So Trisha and Marquez still aren't seeing eye to eye. They're not really talking. But Ken and Marquez are. So much so that following this
trash.
post
You need to throw it away.
where he said they are all good,
What trash?
The candy that I gave you.
Ken invites him over for Thanksgiving. We all saw the post. Y'all can see him on my IG page if you missed him. Follow me on IG at Diana Rose. But
too harsh.
We had Marquez saying, hey, I am on my way to Huntsville to hang out with my partner. Ken gave me gas money. Like, they're laughing and joking. There's camaraderie here. They are, he's talking about seeing his son. His son had just pulled up, and I mean, you could tell that they were cool. Marquez and Ken were taking family photos with the kids. Marquez and Ken were taking family photos, shoulder to shoulder. I think one of the pictures had their arm around each other. With the kids, no Trisha. No Trisha. Trisha didn't want to be a part of it. Trisha, no Trisha. Okay? Just them. So, Marquez said, there's a situation that happens in January, right? I'll tell you how it started. So y'all have the background. There's still animosity between Marquez and Trisha. Not Marquez and Ken though. But Marquez is in town. He's in town. He has a conversation with his son. He's 18 years old, an adult for all intents and purposes. And his son says, well, I'm on my way to pick up my sister from dance recital. Marquez said, I'll pick her up because I know you got things to do. And he takes him up on it. And the son goes one way. Marquez goes to pick up the daughter. And he's going to take her back home. And that's when everything goes haywire, according to Marquez. He said, I know I didn't have a relationship with Trisha. She was not given a heads up about me coming. It didn't come from me. It didn't come from my son. I literally walked into the house and took her by surprise, okay? Trisha is filming in the house. She's there with production teams. They're talking about the divorce.
Oh, wow.
We don't know exactly. I'll say this. Marquez said
Was
she
that
heard
sad?
the divorce, but we don't know exactly where she stood emotionally.
What's going on?
Let's just assume it was in a good place, because She assumed she was being ambushed by production when he walks in with their daughter. And she starts feeling, oh hell no, this is
a boring life.
Production.
Just
Marquez
in here
is
doing my
looking,
nails.
according to
That's
Marquez,
it.
he's thinking, what's the big deal? Maybe he feels like she's doing too much. Even though he is a man who's very big on respect, he doesn't see him walking in with his daughter unannounced as disrespectful. I come from a household where if the door was open and someone did this, you know what I'm saying? Like if we had the screen door and someone did this and they were unannounced and they're like, hey, I can see you. If my mom didn't want to deal with you, she would say that's your fault. You should have called. You should have called and let me know you were coming. I don't do pop-ins. I don't do that. So I have always been the type of person who said, just this person know I'm coming. If I'm coming with someone, when I come in the house, I'm like, hey, did anybody tell you I was coming? You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to do that. And even to this day, as grown as hell as I am, if I go someplace with somebody, I need to know if there's any other black people that's it. You know, are we going to be the only two? Or am I the only one? Like, I need to know the full picture. Marquez, this wasn't disrespect for him. This was just him dropping off his daughter. Could he have taken her to the door and put whatever he thought was too heavy for her at the door and production maybe take it in, or the mom, Trisha, take it in later? He didn't get that far. He didn't think it was a problem. Y'all can put in the comments what y'all think, okay?
He's her father.
We're going to move on. That's the moment. He said when he left the house after Trisha flipped out on him, he said that he ended up calling Ken. Ken did not answer his phone. And he went on about his day. He said he got permission from production to walk in the house. I don't know if that's good enough, considering there was house pulled, security in front of the house at one point, according to some of the YouTube reports. What else?
Yeah, it's yours.
There was just little spats and fights going on the entire time, and the only person you weren't cool with was Trisha at this point. But he kind of brushed it off. At some point between that little snuffle, he's contacted by production. Production says, listen, we've talked to Trisha, we've talked to Ken. We want the three of you to have a moment to come in, film together. My assumption would be that they wanted them to somehow squash the beef. I would assume, because that's what production's good for. Everybody get together. We know these emotions are high, but it'll give us a good TV moment, right?
I know, green.
Marquez agrees. Marquez ends up going back to film, and when he does, all hell breaks loose. He's at the house with Trisha, Ken, their kids are there. Marquez says, I felt ambushed. He walked into the house that he was actually invited to. But he said, I felt ambushed. Why? Now, just to be fair, we don't know how they even got here. We know he walked in the house. We don't know the conversation that was had that led up to the physical altercation. We don't know that. He didn't say I just walked in and got, Ken started raining the beads on him, you know what I'm saying? He said he went in the film and things just went left. So we don't know the conversation that happened that created it going left. That is something we'll see if it airs, right? But this is the fight. This was the fight that happened that night. And the very next day, the three of them and the kids, Marquez, Trish, Ken, they were all in Atlanta for their daughters, for Trisha Marquez's daughter, dance recital. From what I'm understanding, Marquez was on one side of the room, Trish and Ken were on the other side, but they were all there to support her, which was actually smart. Even if the adults were into it, being able to go and see her and let her know that we still love you, none of this is your fault, is absolutely the adult thing to do. But that is what happened. So this is how we got here. Just again, the bigger picture of things. That was in January. Now, I'm assuming nothing got cleared up, after that moment. That was January 25th, just to give y'all the date again, January 24th, 2025. So, January wraps up. I see Marquez on February 3rd. Let me play this real quick for y'all.
Hopping to savings. Get 40% off Easter baskets, bunnies, and decor. Only at Michael's. Shop now.
1, 2, 3.
Oh God.
It's good to see me, isn't it?
So y'all gonna make me watch this?
Working it with the
Freak.
Experian app, your credit's gonna look so money. Hit check, see your FICO score anytime to find out if you're in the green.
I think I changed my mind about these glasses.
Yeah,
I'm
it
over it.
happens. That's why
Oh,
Vision
you
Works
just got
gives
to
you 100
work?
days to
Have a
change
good
your mind.
night.
It's simple. Anything else I can help you
I'm
with?
listening
Like
to
what?
I watched this show called Love and Marriage. I watched this show called Love and Marriage Huntsville, and I watched like the vlogs that are the blogs, not vlogs. The blogs that are, you know, covering the TV show, and you keep up with all the in-house, out-house, you know, on-screen, off-screen tea. So that's what I like to do when I'm doing my nails. I just like to like listen to something that I can just get lost doing my nails. So it's an effortless, even though I'm over here falling asleep. I don't know if y'all can tell. I'm over here like, I'm tired. I'm over this. I'm debating like, am I going to apply color on tonight? I don't know. I might just fight it. My sister says that I act like a kid when I'm sleepy and I be fighting my sleep. Like, I be at her place like trying to we be watching a show and I just be sitting there asleep and she be like, Star, go to bed. And I'm like, okay. That's so funny. But yeah, so I'm just sitting here low-key falling asleep because I usually be asleep by now. So, you know, during my absence, I've been getting a lot of rest. A lot of good rest, so I'm tired. Shoot, the kids would have been asleep too if I was asleep. But, you know, I'm up. I don't mind. It's Saturday. It's not that deep. I don't have kids that, you tell them to go. My kids, I tell them to go to sleep. It's time to go to sleep. They know it. My son right there, like, no, you can't come on my live.
Are you actually talking to someone?
Yeah, I am.
Are you calling?
No, I'm on live. I'm on a video. They can see me, but I can't see them. I'm cracking up. I was about to ask him something, but never mind. I'll ask you later. I'll ask you when I'm not on live.
Okay.
And you took a nap today?
Huh?
You took a nap?
No.
Huh?
No.
You gonna be out soon.
What, me?
Yeah, you. I know you waiting for me.
Yeah, till you be done.
I knew it. My son would stay up, like, just so he could be the one going to sleep with me. My baby. Everybody else be asleep, but he will be up. Oh, you said we know you don't. Right? I'm cracking up. Feels like I'm in the twilight zone because I really do feel sleepy. Like, I was over here falling asleep doing this, like, listening to her. And, you know, I want to watch some TV, some ratchet TV, but I'll do that when I do my color, you know? out your head. Oh.
So
you went up.
I wanted to show you this part too because when he looks up, when you see him look up right here.
You said that's how I used to be waiting on my grandma to go to bed. Oh, that means you had a real special bond with her, or had. But my son, yeah, he don't let up. Like, I like move. Go to bed. It's okay. Thanks for the like too.
And he nods and keeps talking. So Marquez had been on the stage for a minute. When he said, I didn't mean to cross the stage, I'm leaving, he didn't actually leave. He was warned 3 times, child, including that one that I just showed you where he's looking up and nods. Don't give away the storyline. Don't give away the storyline you're filming. That was 3 times, child. Now I know that the man has been kicked off for interviewing, but I am shocked that they have.
So they still filming?
Film, child. I don't even think Kiki got that. Courtesy. Did Kiki say that she was invited back to film after a certain period of time? I didn't hear her ever say that. But he said after a year he could come back and film. And I wonder if he's going to do it. Because right now, y'all, he said that he is doing Tyler Perry things, okay? Y'all see it? He pinned up the location, Tyler Perry Studios, and he said he's on the lot. So he said ain't nobody stopping anything over there on OWN or Tender Rain. Y'all can talk to me.
Speaking of Tyler Perry,
in the comments. Let me know what
I'm gonna do. I ain't gonna lie, I was gonna fry some chicken. When I was done, fry some chicken.
Valentine's Day. On Valentine's Day, Trisha is filming.
Right? You want some chicken?
She makes this post.
You don't want no
she
chicken.
says, I want to take
He's
all
so
of you
cute. Fry some
all you
chicken
people on this healing journey with
and
me.
watch some, what is
letting out
it?
everything
Beauty and
I've
Black?
done to keep
Beauty and the
in to
Beast?
protect my feelings.
Black
But
is
at
the
the same
beauty.
time, was damaging to me.
Oh yeah, I do have some mac and cheese.
I'm going to open up about my insecurities that led to the disrespect,
Thank you,
mental
Mel.
abuse, and verbal abuse. And I would like to thank
Oh my God,
Loving
I want
Trustful
that
for
right
helping
now.
me with that voice. That was on a Friday. Valentine's Day. Y'all can go check out if you want to receipt check. You can check that out. I ended up getting some receipts that day. Hold on. And I held on to them until I did my reunion review on the 16th, so not the 14th. And this is what I said. So everything in black is Marquez. Everything in blue is Trisha. But Marquez says you lame as F, and F you for life.
Yikes.
I was gonna give you half. F you for real. I'll give X half, and y'all can work it
Takes
out.
so long, man.
F you and your life. Trisha responds, that was weird since you made it a custody battle. I'm glad you sent this. I will use it as well. And then she said, you can't give it to X.
She was trying to take his kids.
X can't be claimed anyway.
Make it
He
seem
worked
like he
all
don't have
year and he's an
rights.
able-bodied 18-year-old. So what are you claiming? But thank you very much for your response. Also, remember, you made this a custody battle. I was just giving you a heads up about half. So this sounds like this is a conversation about taxes. For this tax year, by the way, because these receipts
I still ain't filed my taxes, okay?
February 8th,
Still.
2025.
It ain't even in the
a week
foreseeable
before
future.
Valentine's
Might
Day.
just skip out this
So
year.
it may have been ongoing, but it was
I feel
definitely
like
this year, and it was definitely about
I'm dealing with tax season at
taxes.
work.
It started off that way anyway.
And I know I'm
then
not
it
getting
kind
anything.
of spirals into something else. You can tell that Marquez is on a spiral right now. So he continues to say, F you and everything you stand for. You lame as F. You don't care about our children for real. And when it's all said and done, you will lose. F you for life. 100 emoji. You lame ass bitch. You're going to be the one left holding the bag. I hate you so much. Crazy.
Right now.
I'd take you out if I could. You're gonna be sorry, bitch, when he leaves you and your kids hate you. I hope it was worth it. You're gonna lose at the end of the day. You're dead to me for life. LOL 100 emoji.
He love that one emoji. I'm crazy.
I hate you so much. I hope you understand you're gonna regret this and your kids will hate you. You sorry ass bitch. F you for life. Die slow like your mom, dad, and sis. So it's kind of repetitive. He's saying the same thing over and over, but he is in a spiral.
Nasty. But I ain't gonna lie.
Trisha actually responds to it and she said, "Oh shit, that don't hurt me anymore."
Back in the day, I used to earlier I talked about in my previous live, I talked about, you know, my mean girl energy. So back in the day, you would do me wrong. I know my mouth is a double-edged sword. I used to use that sword. I used to cut real deep. I used to say, I could still do it, but I don't. I choose not to. But I used to say some off-the-wall stuff. I can't say I don't. I did step out of character last year. But that's a different story. That was because that person needed to stop playing with me. But aside from that, like, you know, the old me, I used to say some crazy things, man. I would cut deep. And it will hurt worse because you know it's the truth. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would intentionally say these things because they're facts and they're true, but I know that it will hurt them. You know what I'm saying? So, thank God for growth. Thank God for the fruits of the Spirit. Thank God for discernment and, you know, self-awareness. All of that good stuff. I really don't like when I do that. It's like giving the shop.
Gone, homie. But in the event that I do, I'll be sure to say hi to your dad's waste of life. That is, if he's not burning twice. Marquez responds, "Don't worry. I'll say hi to your mom, sis, and dad on the way to hell. I'm sure they'll miss you more than I do. 100 roses. You're gonna lose and be sorry."
You reading a book, Mo?
When it's all said and done,
Reading the book?
When it's all said and done,
yeah,
and
reading the book. You got a book up.
We can all.
Is that a book?
Be unalive together.
Okay, so what you doing with
it? Really want to take it there. Now that was a big one, and that probably is what affected him the most.
Creating a story.
When it came to filming, to make the story and say it was going to happen on television.
What is it called?
Everybody has to be able to trust you. You know what I'm saying? Or trust that they can handle a situation if it went left. But he goes on to say, "Lame ass B, gonna be left holding the bag. Bitch, you don't care about all the hoes he's effing." So he is bothered by Kim Chow and trying to give her a heads up.
You don't have to turn this because he's in here.
To be able to trust you, you know what I'm saying?
God dang it.
Or trust that they.
Who can I run to? Excuse me. Huh? What is it? What, Mo? That's the book we got from Barnes and Nobles.
Yeah, Barnes and Nobles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got that last year or the year before. I can't remember.
The Great North American Earth.
Actually, I'm gonna finish listening to this.
And a visual resource that you can find on multiple streaming platforms. Simply look below the video to get a good idea of where you can follow.
Turn that hall light
off. For a
on.
more complete library, I definitely do have backup channels on BitChute, Brighteon, Rumble, Telegram, and Odyssey, and that is where you can get the more complete library of videos that contain definitely prophecies that were made during 2020 and 2021 concerning the COVID period of the United States and around the world, what God was saying at that time. Those videos cannot be posted here, as well as one or two prophecies that I would call the medical
I'll get you
playlist,
something, okay?
prophecies about the future of diseases and things like that. Those things are not allowed to be
How long
posted
has been
here on
doing
YouTube.
that?
But besides that, you can get most of the prophecies right here on YouTube.
Today?
There's a Spanish language channel that is a companion to the blog. It's the same blog, just made available in Spanish, that is called Canal Profético, La Voz del Señor. And the links for that are also
all right, guys.
underneath each video. Well, not every video, but
It's almost
hopefully
12
this
o'clock.
one. And if you can't find it, just scroll a
Find
few
somewhere.
videos back until you can find something in the
Settle
description
down.
box below. Everything that you need to know about this channel is
Yeah.
always in the description box below. Before I start, I want to say please be aware of copycats and scammers that are using my logo, that are using different wrong misspellings of the channel name to interact with viewers and subscribers, telling them that they should send in donations to an orphanage in Nigeria. I have been warning about that for over a year and a half now. No matter how many of those copycat channels I block, they're always making new ones. So please be wary of anyone using the Master's Voice logo and name, or sometimes they even clone other Christian channels. What you need to be wary of is that they're asking you for a donation, they're interacting with you and telling you that they're having prophetic insight into your life. They're also saying that you should contact them privately off this app so that they can get more in tune with your spiritual needs. I strongly urge you not to do that. Do not get catfished, do not get scammed, do not get tricked, and do not go around interacting with people who are not me, because I simply do not do those things. I'm not interacting with anyone for a donation. I'm here to deliver the messages of the Lord. Those who want to listen can listen. Those who do not want to listen, the internet is a very big place, and I'm absolutely certain that you will be able to find something that holds your interest if this is not what you want to listen to. Today's prophecy is from February 2020, so that makes it, now that today is March the 4th, that makes it a straight 5 years old. But what makes this prophecy so interesting is how it perfectly depicts the America we are living in now. So this is a prophecy from February the 19th, 2020, and the title of the prophecy is Insurrection. Insurrection, which means uprising, it means rebellion, and this is the picture that I chose for it. So many years ago, it says refuse, resist, rebel, revolt. And that is what the Lord was saying all these years back. When America was in a very, I would say a very strong position. America was in a very strong position then, because this was the year that then incumbent President Donald Trump was going to run for re-election. Seems to be in a very strong position. America was certainly doing well, certainly doing a lot better than she is now, and it seems to be a slam dunk that he was going to be elected president, and yet that is not what the Lord was saying concerning him. God was saying that he was going to come down from office, when many believed to the contrary. But God was also saying many things about the America that Donald Trump was governing at that time. America was very strong at that time. America had a man at the helm that many believed had a strong enough stance towards America's so-called traditional enemies, such as Russia. And so it was understood by the majority of Americans that the golden age that they felt of low gas prices and low food prices and stable economy and everything like that was simply going to roll on for 4 more years. But that is not what happened. And so the Lord was speaking on that date, February 19, speaking of a future time when America was going to be struggling, when America was going to be doing many of the things that you will actually hear in this prophecy that God spoke 5 years ago, and we are living in that reality now. So you have to understand that the Master's Voice Prophecy blog has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of prophecies. I think what is written down is about 475 of them, and then I was no longer able to keep collating the written blog with the volume of prophetic messages that God was giving me. So right now, in terms of the full library, I've passed 700 messages. So there's 700 videos made at least.
I know
And
that's right. You
written
eat it
it's almost
24/7.
500, and so it's just a matter
Jesus
of
in it, I know
taking
that's
time
right.
to put the rest down. But this old one shows what the Holy Spirit has been saying here since I came in 2019, which is Yah is going to speak it. Time is going to pass in between, and then we're going to see the fulfillment of the messages that God is giving America. And the overall message that God is giving America is that this nation is going to be broken down until it can't be broken down anymore.
And I
It's
won't
going
be
to
here
broken down
when that
by
happens. Me or my children
internal
will be in another
processes that are
country
going to sputter and
with
then
my
stumble
husband.
and then fail. It's going to be broken
And
down
his
by the
children.
fact that the American entity that is known as America, the governance part of it, is not going to be able to keep its social contract with the people. And then it's going to come to the point where we will actually see that the government was never interested in keeping the social contract with the people, because inside the belly of what we know as America, there is actually something else, and that is a beast state, a monitoring state, a controlling state, an end time state, a Revelation chapter 13 state that was never interested with prolonging the life of the entity known as the United States. That beast state on the inside has always been, for hundreds and hundreds of years, okay? It has always been interested in a larger agenda, which is bringing about a one world governance system that has nothing to do with America, because the title of it, One World, focuses on a global state that is going to ultimately be run by one man. So American sovereignty, America doing well, American prosperity, American increase, American good economy, that is not the interest of the beast state. The beast state is interested in bringing about eternal things, end time things, Bible things, and that is why the banner scripture for today has absolutely nothing to do with America as a state. It was given to me by the Holy Spirit, and it is simply to read the first 5 verses of Revelation 17, which is talking about the end times that we are in, the end times that are working out themselves according to scripture. If you are an American, or if you live in any other country and you keep trying to process today's events through an American mind, a Republican mind, independent mind, a Bernie Sanders mind, a Democrat mind, you are always going to fall short, because you will be looking with a short-sighted lens at things that are going to take eternal import. The devil is working certain things out according to his agenda, and God, working at a far higher level, is allowing the enemy to work and bring about what the devil thinks will be his ultimate triumph when he establishes this one world state. But that is all part of the prophetic judgment that you can find in the book of Daniel. I think it's Daniel 7. If it's not Daniel 7, it's the place where they're talking about the statue that is made of many metals. We are coming to the final kingdom of iron and clay, and once that kingdom gets going and has its moment in the sun, after that it's going to be destroyed by the coming kingdom of the Lord Jesus Christ. So there's simply no room in that for a France, there's no room for a Uganda, there's no room for a Canada, there's no room for a Mexico or a United States. The nations are going to be squashed into 10 territories. They're going to give their power for a single hour to the beast. There's going to be a global union of nations ruled by one man who's going to appoint governors over the different regions. It's going to be a time both of fake utilitarian utopia, where those who don't fit in are going to be methodically eradicated. And then it's going to seem like a perfect society, but it's going to be a perfect society minus Jesus, which means it's going to be horribly imperfect, very frightening to live in. And then after that, the Lord is going to overthrow that and bring about his kingdom forevermore. And so the banner scripture is this: Then one of the 7 angels who had the 7 bowls came and talked with me, saying to me, "Come, I will show you the judgment of the great harlot who sits on many waters, with whom the kings of the earth committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth were made drunk with the wine of her fornication." So he carried me away in the spirit
Made
into
drunk
the
of wine with
wilderness,
fornication.
and I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast, which was full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. The woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet, and adorned with gold and
Sorry, I gotta bring that back because I think she's in it.
word for a single hour to the beast. There's going to be a global union of nations ruled by one man who's going to appoint governors over the different regions. It's going to be a time both of fake utilitarian utopia, where those who don't fit in are going to be methodically eradicated. And then it's going to seem like a perfect society, but it's going to be a perfect society minus Jesus, which means it's going to be horribly imperfect. Very frightening to live in, and then after that, the Lord is going to overthrow that and bring about his kingdom forevermore. And so the banner scripture is this: "Then one of the 7 angels who had the 7 bowls came and talked with me, saying to me, Come, I will show you the judgment of the great harlot who sits me to live in, and then after that, the Lord is going to overthrow that and bring about his kingdom forevermore." And so the banner scripture is this: "Then one of the 7 angels who had the 7 bowls came and talked with me, saying to me, Come, I will show you the judgment of the great harlot who sits on many waters, with whom the kings of the earth committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth were made drunk with the wine of her fornication." So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast, which was full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. The woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet, and adorned with gold and precious stones and pearls.
Where is she reading from?
Harlot who sits on many waters, with whom the kings of the earth committed fornication.
Are they talking about a siren? Like
kingdom forevermore. And so the banner scripture is this: "Then one of the 7 angels who had the 7 bowls came and talked with me, saying to me, Come, I will show you the judgment of the great harlot who sits on many waters, with whom the kings of the earth committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth were made drunk with the wine of her fornication." So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast, which was full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. The woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet, and adorned with gold and precious stones and pearls, having in her hand a golden cup full of abominations, and the filthiness of her fornication. And on her forehead a name was written: Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and of the abominations of the earth. And I'm reading to you from Revelation chapter 17, verses 1 to 5. Okay. So there's a lot of speculation and a lot of contention in the earth today concerning the identity of Mystery Babylon. And I'm not sure why this is, even though if I had to guess, it is because people have traditionally been taught through American pastors and through the American pastorate in general that the identity of Mystery Babylon has to be some random man from Europe, the Antichrist arising in Europe, and that the identity of Mystery Babylon could be Iran, it could be Iraq because of their geographic placement, or it could be the Catholic Church because, Rome sits on 7 hills. But the truth of the matter is that the Lord God has revealed that the nation that is referred to as mystery, meaning hidden, nobody knew who the identity was. Babylon, as in her ways, her deeds, her governance systems, military might, power, and ubiquitous knownness to the whole world, is the United States of America. When they say this, Americans get upset because, of course, ecumenical teaching,
I am
the teaching
in
that they
agreement
received
with
in church all their lives.
It's clear that America will host the Antichrist. Now, who the heck that may be, I don't know. But I know I won't be here to find out. I won't be living here. Let me be clear. I won't be living here. I'll be living somewhere else in another country. Island.
Fights against the revelation of truth. I just want to remind you that when Jesus Christ was in the earth, he was the one who was holding the truth of the moment. The Pharisees hated him. They were constantly fighting against the revelations that he brought, mostly because they captivated the people living at that time more than the
But yes,
stale,
Sag, I'm shaking my
boring
nose.
revelations that the Pharisees were keeping, the Abrahamic law and all of that. Jesus Christ had come to fulfill and complete the law. He was carrying living truth
Exactly.
inside him. But the people of the day who were in scriptural heights, the people who were ruling, never wanted to accept it. And so it is easier today to tell an unsaved person who Mystery Babylon is than to bring that revelation of the truth, for instance, to a traditional American Christian who has heard certain things from Pastor Hagee and has heard it from Jack Van Eyck and has heard it from the whoever else of the day and has now internalized those things as truth, because everybody knows what happens to Mystery Babylon in Revelation 17 and 18, and so no American Christian easily hears that. However, our comfort level is not where God is operating. God is bringing prophetic truths, and he's going to follow those prophetic truths to the letter. So what I've always said is, when you see who's being bombed in the end times, when you see who's being abandoned by everybody in the end times, when you see who's being surrounded with armies and attacked in the end times, and you match it with whether it's happening to Iran, Iraq, Rome, or America, then you will finally come to the understanding that when God was speaking in the past, we should have been listening, because it would have been the roadway for us to be prepared.
I lied, they do have a bedtime.
The now and for
It's
the
called
future.
12 o'clock, settle down.
Insurrection, February 19, 2020. I'm going to read to you what the Lord says. I'm not going to go back and forth with remembering where a certain prophecy is and where a certain prophecy is because as I was reading this prophecy, I was simply in awe of the fact that I'm coming to make the video 5 years later, and it's literally the America was sitting. And so as you listen, you can simply ask yourself, does this match my reality now or not? Is this speaking about the America I live in now? If you're a foreigner, is this the America that I'm watching on TV right now, or is it so mismatched that I cannot believe this prophetic word that was written down 5 years ago? So, reading from the word that God gave me, I'm just going to read it how I wrote it. The Holy Spirit spoke to me at 9/11 today, February 19, 2020, about America. The topic was insurrection. That is, the breakdown of society, the undermining of leadership, and the loss of everything that America holds dear, or that defines it as a free and a powerful nation. The Lord does not call this country great. Whenever he's teaching me about the things to come, I can't help but notice how he doesn't use that word, even though it's currently all over our TV and media.
I don't use that word.
America
Never
is
had.
great. America
Never
is
thought
the
America was
greatest
great.
country in the world.
Oh, thank
Make
you.
America great
You said it
again
looks like
are
I'm
the
doing a good
slogans that
job.
we're hearing
Thank you.
everywhere.
I'm
That
trying.
word is absent from Yah's vocabulary. However, when he does mention it, it's always in relation to the destruction of the United States. So what God will say to me is, great will be the destruction of this nation. Great will be its fall. God acknowledges the might and the prowess, the physical prowess of Mystery Babylon, but he does not call her great. I notice things like these when I make my notes, because I know that when the time comes to fulfill these prophecies, not a single pen stroke will be left out of the fulfillment. Revelation 17 and 18 are very clear that end times Babylon will indeed have a great fall and a great burning also. Kindly study these 2 chapters for your own research and information. So before I started this
What was it?
prophetic
I know
word, I was reading
Revelation.
through the message. And
What was the other one?
nation. Great will be its fall. God acknowledges the might and the prowess, the physical prowess of Mystery Babylon, but he does not call her great. I notice things like these when I make my notes because I know that when the time comes to fulfill these prophecies, not a single pen stroke will be left out of the fulfillment. Revelation 17 and 18 are very clear that end times Babylon will indeed have a great fall and a great burning also. Kindly study these 2 chapters for your
I missed
own
it again.
research and
Sorry.
information. So before I start, hey Larry. However, when he does mention it, it's always in relation to the destruction of the United States. So what God will say to you is, great will be the destruction of this nation. Great will be its fall. God acknowledges the might and the prowess, the physical prowess of Mystery Babylon, but he does not call her great. I notice things like these when I make my notes because I know that when the time comes to fulfill these prophecies, not a single pen stroke will be left out of the fulfillment. Revelation 17 and 18 are very clear that end times Babylon will indeed have a great fall and a great burning also. Kindly study these 2 chapters for your own research
Okay,
and
chapter
information.
17, 18,
So before I
and
started
13.
this prophetic word, I was reading through the message, and what the Lord said to me all of a sudden was, the United States will become ungovernable. This is what he said to me. The United States will become ungovernable, and God says that America is going to be brought to a place whereby she's going to be poised on a precipice. A precipice is on the edge of a very steep drop. And at the edge of that precipice, America as a nation is going to have to make a decision. And that decision is she going to comply with the types of laws? Is she going to comply with the types of leadership? Is she going to comply with the types of new rules and serious legal changes and societal changes that are going to be proposed in this nation? Or is she going to take a jump that at present, that jump only exists in potentia, meaning that it only exists as a we could do this. This is provided for in law. There is such
Almost
an
done.
opening, but are we
God
actually
dang.
going to do it? That leaf is provided in the Second Amendment of the United States, which says that it's the right of every U.S. citizen to be able to bear arms, especially if the government is going to go outside of the States will become ungovernable. This is what he said to me. The United States will become ungovernable. And God says that America is going to be brought to a place whereby she's going to be poised on a precipice. A precipice is on the edge of a very steep drop. And at the edge of that precipice, America as a nation is going to have to make a decision. And that decision is she going to comply with the types of laws? Is she going to comply with the types of leadership? Is she going to comply with the types of new rules and serious legal changes and societal changes that are going to be proposed in this nation? Or is she going to take a jump that at present, that jump only exists in potentia, meaning that it only exists as a we could do this. This is provided for in law. There is such an opening, but are we actually going to do it? That leaf is provided in the Second Amendment of the United States, which says that it's the right of every U.S. citizen to be able to bear arms, especially if the government is going to go. Is she going to take a jump that at present, that jump only exists in potentia, meaning that it only exists as a we could do this. This is provided for in law. There is such an opening, but are we actually going to do it? That leaf is provided in the Second Amendment of the United States, which says that it's the right of every U.S. citizen to be able to bear arms, especially if the government is going to go outside of the legal structure that is provided to govern the nation. God says that America is going to come right up to the precipice of, is she actually going to weapon up? Is she actually going to arm up and stand up against a government that is going to be acting so illegal that the people will feel that they have no choice? God has been telling me, in addition to the fact that there's going to be a great war in the Middle East, and God says to tell you, America, that that war in the Middle East is actually going to act as a rope around your foot. He says that is what's going to trip you up As a nation, that is what's going to drag you right down. That is the stumbling block. That is the stone of stumbling for you. That Middle East war that has been prophesied here since 2014, first month of 2014 in January, God was talking about Middle East war and the displacement of Jews from their current homeland in the Middle East. So, in addition to that, in addition to the Middle East war, the
Let me see, which one was that?
precipice of, is she actually going to weapon up? Is she actually going to arm up and stand up against a government that is going to be acting so illegal that the people will feel that they have no choice? God has been telling me, in addition to the fact that there's going to be a great war in the Middle East, and God says to tell you, America, that that war in the Middle East is actually going to act as a rope around your foot. He says that is what's going to trip you up. As a nation, that is what's going to drag you right down. That is the stumbling block. That is the stone of stumbling for you. That Middle East war that has been prophesied here since 2014, first month of 2014 in January, God was talking about Middle East war and the displacement of Jews from their current homeland in the Middle East. So, in addition to that, in addition to the Middle East war that God says is going to bring America into grave disrepute, going to cause America to pick up so much international flack, he has been saying that the American people are going to find it insufferable the way the government is going to act. And I know a lot of people might be quick to jump the gun and say it's insufferable right now, but I don't think that we as a collective really sit and think about things from a long range perspective. Americans love to jump the gun. As soon as they hear something or see someone, then they'll be like, every 4 years, oh, that person must be the Antichrist. Every 5 minutes, oh, that person is surely the false prophet. Then the person dies and it's like, well, yeah, okay, we'll find a new person to attach it to. There's very little ability here to go the whole way and to think about things long range. And that is because there's some kind of thirst in the population to quickly get to the end of the Bible so that people can see Jesus. We want to quickly get to wherever we're supposed to get to. The rapture crowd wants to quickly get to the next September Feast of Weeks or Feast of whatever, and then say, well, the rapture is coming here. And of course, year after year after year, with false predictions that they've been following, they get disappointed, but they're never tired to stop believing in that lie, and they simply are willing to kick the can down the road and say, well, it's got to be one of these feasts, because a loving God would not allow us to suffer. And eventually they're going to hit the wall on that. But then there's another thing whereby people seem to think that the prophetic words of God are just going to quickly unspool, quickly unravel. It'll be 2 shots here and 2 shots there, and then the war will be over. And that is not what is going to happen. America is going to go into slow decline. And let me tell you something about slow decline. There is something frustrating week after week about not being able to afford basic commodities. It eats at you faster than the economy can break down. So as the economy is breaking down, the economy is going to be breaking down brick by brick. That was prophesied in 2024, and that was just a continuation of old prophecies. But there was something that God said that really got my attention. And he said that in the minds of the people who lead us, the people who are governing us, he said that they are watching us, and they are specifically saying they have too much money still. They still have too much disposable income. They still have a job. They still have money to buy PlayStations and sneakers. And he said that there's frustration inside the leadership of this country. And you're thinking, oh, it's the Democrats because that was them last year. Or you're thinking, oh, it's the Republicans because look at how they're acting. It is the deep state, the existing government that is behind the face of whoever is sitting in power at the time. The architects that run this country, Yah says, are very impatient with the pace at which the government is breaking down. He says that they are working hard to make sure that even the 2 cents that we have left will be taken away. So what God is looking to build into spiritual people, please understand that this is not part of what is written down. This is part of what the Lord has been teaching me and laying on my heart from my own understanding and preparation of what is ahead of us, is that this economy is going to break down according to the prophecies. However, the people are going to break down faster than the economy can break down. All it takes is 3 missed mortgage payments for someone to pick up a gun and go to the bank and shoot the bank manager. For you, who does that? That is the breakdown of your life. You are not Luigi the photogenic shooter of the moment. You're an ordinary guy who's trying to pay the bills, and then the money is not long. The money is now short. You can't make it. You skip payment 1, they send you a letter. You skip payment 2, third payment, they start telling you things like repossession. This was prophesied back in 2021. Repossession of homes, breakdown of families, going to live in the trailer park, going to live in the 1 bedroom, and a family of 6 is sharing 1 bathroom, 2 bedrooms, and living in ways that they never conceived. This is pressure points. This is boiling point. This makes people extremely disobedient. God was saying in 2021 that Americans are going to become so disobedient to the government that he was saying to me today, civil disobedience, mass protests, and just basically breaking government things. God said that Americans are going to sabotage government property. I can't think what it might be, because what was coming in my heart is the grid. But why would you sabotage the grid when the grid is actually what supplies power to homes? Nevertheless, he kept laying it on my heart that Americans are going to become so insurrectionist, meaning they're going to become like mini vigilantes. They're going to be so upset, they're going to be so angry that they're going to vandalize and damage government property. Americans are going to become ungovernable. To become ungovernable, just think of all the protests that France had in 2022. Just think of how French people burnt their cities down. Their own cities, they burnt them down, and then they took chairs outside and they sat in the fires and were having wine and sitting in the midst of all the trash and all the things that they were burning. They destroyed their own cities because they were so upset at things that Emmanuel Macron was doing. And that is what Yah says we're going to do. It's not going to be
still trying to figure out what I'm doing for my birthday.
People are going to be so upset, so vocal, so disobedient. And Yah says that the general feeling will be, because Americans will feel,
don't tell my business.
They will literally feel that they've come to a breaking point, and they will feel that if the government doesn't
I'm still trying to
obey
figure
the
out
laws,
what I'm doing.
they're not
for
going to
my
obey
birthday.
any laws as well. If the government is disobedient to what is written down as the laws by which America runs, and the people themselves are going to say that we're not doing anything that we're supposed to do, and it's going to come to a point of, is the nation going to leap off the precipice of rising up in civil insurrection, rising up in civil war, or not? So just understand that, because this is what God has been pointing to. And so here is now what God says. So this is thus says the Lord. This stuff is not part of the introductory notes. This is what God was saying to me on February 19, 2020. He says, speak to these people and tell them their transgression. Leave nothing out. Make them know how they have grieved my spirit and offended against my holy countenance. I have gazed at their sin for far too long. My words will have their fulfillment in the near future. Nothing shall be put off anymore. Prophecy, both good and bad, shall come to fulfillment all at once. Those who have pleased me will receive their blessing and promotion in a time of great chaos. But those who have earned my wrath shall be kindled with a burning that cannot be put out. I will set this nation to tinder and ashes. Nothing shall remain when my might. Not part of the introductory notes. This is what God was saying to me on February 19, 2020. He says, speak to these people and tell them their transgression. Leave nothing out. Make them know.
So for the record, she got this prophecy February 19, 2020. So just to keep in perspective, that's literally just like 3 to 6 days after the pandemic hit.
How they have grieved my spirit and offended against my holy countenance. I have gazed at their sin for far too long. My words will have their fulfillment in the near future. Nothing shall be put off anymore. Prophecy, both good and bad, shall come to fulfillment all at once. Those who have pleased me will receive their blessing and promotion in a time of great chaos. But those who have earned my wrath shall be kindled with a burning that cannot be put out. I will set this nation to tinder and ashes. Rising up in civil war or not. So just understand that, because this is what Yah has been pointing to. And so here is now what God says. So this is thus says the Lord. This stuff is not part of the introductory notes. This is what God was saying to me on February 19, 2020. He says, speak to these people and tell them their transgression. Leave nothing out. Make them know how they have grieved my spirit and offended against my holy countenance. I have gazed at their sin for far too long. My words will have their fulfillment in the near future. Nothing shall be put off anymore. Prophecy, both good and bad, shall come to fulfillment all at once. Those who have pleased me will receive their blessing and promotion in a time of great chaos. But those who have earned my wrath shall be kindled with a burning that cannot be put out. I will set this nation to tinder and ashes. Nothing shall remain when my mighty ones have had their way. America will become a footnote in history, a thing that newborns cannot believe once existed. Though they try, they will not believe it. A once great nation removed from the earth as
Fight
if
in my
it was
sleep again.
never
This is
born.
what my sister be talking
Surely
about.
such a thing can't happen, but it shall, and it will. And so you hear God talking about transgression, talking about sin, and the traditional position of the Lord concerning the United States is that America is a nation that can never accept that it is a sinning nation. That is because, by and large, Americans, even secular Americans hold this belief that they are basically good people. So you will always hear it coming out of the mouth of American that we're good people here. We help our neighbor. We always help out if we see a buddy in need. We're good people here. We're good people here. Christians, on the other hand, hold the same view but in a different viewpoint. Christians see themselves as extremely special in America. The American Christian seems to think that they are miles above average Christianity in the rest of the world. That is because, by and large, the most famous forms of Christianity come from here. Even though those forms of Christianity are extremely warped, they're built on sometimes xenophobic views. They're built sometimes on exclusivity views. We're different, we're better. We preach this and we export it and we have missionaries and our pastors are the most well-known and the most famous. And so there's sort of if you want to be a Christian, if you want to know how to do it right, watch us. But there's a lot of corruption in U.S. Christianity. It breeds complacency. The people literally see themselves as above any and every type of judgment, to the point that people really do believe that in order for an American Christian not to suffer, God is going to fast track the catching away, sometimes popularly or colloquially known as the rapture, that God has to do something because the people in America believe that they're not appointed to wrath. They're not appointed to wrath. The children are not appointed to wrath, and they seem to overlook the fact that by and large the church in the United States does not keep the traditional definition of children of God.
This is the longest
they
live
follow corruption
for no reason.
They are in cults of popularity.
I'm going to finish listening to that. I go to sleep to listening to it. But I be having to play it back like 50,000 times because it's so long. And when I play it, like, you know, throughout the day or on my way to sleep, you know, I get distracted and be having to like bring it back. So I am exhausted. I know I don't look tired, but I'm going to go to bed soon. I don't need to make chicken. I don't need to fry chicken because I do have food I forgot about that I'm about to eat right now. But frying some chicken would be good, but I'm too tired. That chicken would be frying this house. All right. If you haven't checked out my previous live, there we go. If you haven't checked out my previous live that was recorded earlier today, check it out. I may go live tomorrow to give you guys, and if it's tomorrow, it's gonna be like as soon as I wake up tomorrow morning. Just get it out the way. Just get it out the way on a Sunday, early Sunday morning. Get it out the way. But I finally got my base. This is my base. I'm finally done. I'm probably going to go over it just one more time tomorrow, you know, after I sleep and, you know, if I use the restroom and wash my hands. I already see what I need to go over. I'm just, I'll do it right now. Because it's always just this one. This is the same nail that was bulky from before. I need to narrow this nail bed. I don't like no thick behind nail bed. I knew something was up with this nail because it was getting on my nerves before they were acrylic. This is a lot better.
What's happening to it?
Nothing. I'm just trying to make it a little more narrow. That's all. Christmas, don't you start. Okay. Is this too long or something? Yeah. Okay, I'm done. Officially, I'm done. He said they look good. I ain't even do anything, really. I gotta apply the color. Huh?
You didn't add the details to
I
it.
know. I'm gonna do that tomorrow. Alright, now I'm officially
Done.
for tonight. For right now. It ain't even night anymore. Alright. Good night. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't caught the previous live when I started these nails, in that live I chit-chatted about, what was I talking about? Oh yeah. Me being a girl's girl, but also having mean girl energy. I touched on that really good. It may resonate. I feel like mean girl energy, mean guy energy, synonymous. Is weird energy that, you know, we need to learn to release, and just learn how to balance when it comes to dealing with people irregardless. The other topic I touched on, which I will tap into more during this, I'm not going to say I'm going to tap into it more, but, you know, when I do decide to talk about, like, my dating journey and stuff like that, that's what I'll talk about. But dating with the purpose to marry, and what does that look like, you know, realistically. You can't say me personally, I feel like you can't say you're dating with the purpose to marry, but you're dating them all, sis. Like, that's the quote, date them all, sis. Yeah, no, I don't agree with that. If you're dating with a purpose to marry, I get the logic of wanting to date them all, but naturally, if that's really where your head is at, you're not going to be dating them all. Like, you know, I don't mind. I feel like with emotional intelligence and emotional maturity, you learn how to navigate. Like, a lot of people fear focusing on one person at a time because it's like, oh, they put all their eggs in one basket. I kind of felt that way last year, but I have a new outlook, a new perspective on it. You know, for me, a woman like me, you just it just comes with emotional maturity and emotional intelligence. You know what I mean? Like, you can still date with a purpose and not date them all, okay? Irregardless to what. So, you know, anywho, check that video out, Dating with a Purpose, you know, with the purpose to marry. So you can hear like how I go about that or whatever in my dating journey. And I don't know outside of the nails how often I will be coming on, because like I said in my previous live, I am in my season of being hidden to the world, but only visible to one. So that, like, that's just where I'm at right now. But anywho, thank you so much for tuning in. Peace and love and harmony, and be blessed. Yes.